Who's going to be the next pope after Francis? 1. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Italy, the Vatican's top diplomat. 2. Cardinal Peter Turkson, Ghana, the African frontrunner. 3rd Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, Philippines, the Asian Francis. 4. Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, Italy, the peacemaker. 5. Cardinal Raymond Leo Burke, USA, the traditionalist firebrand. 6th Cardinal Odilo Scherer, Brazil, the Latin American powerhouse. 7. Cardinal Malcolm Ranjith, Sri Lanka, the strict enforcer. 8. Cardinal Christoph Schönborn, Austria, the intellectual bridge. 9. Cardinal Robert Serra, Guinea, the spiritual traditionalist. 10th. Cardinal Angelo Scola, Italy, the almost pope. So, who's got the best shot?
After a pope dies, the Vatican enters the interregnum, the time between his death and the election of his successor. The first step is confirming the death by calling the pope's baptismal name 3 times. If there's no response, he is declared dead. The news is then shared through the Vatican's official channels. The funeral must take place within 4 to 6 days, followed by burial, usually at St. Peter's Basilica, unless the Pope requested otherwise. A 9-day mourning period follows. Around 15 to 20 days later, the process of electing a new pope begins. Cardinals under the age of 80 gather in the Sistine Chapel, completely cut off from the outside world, with no access to media or phones. They vote in secret rounds until someone receives a 2/3 majority. Black smoke signals no decision. White smoke means a pope has been chosen. The elected cardinal is asked to accept and pick a papal name. Then, the world hears, Habemus Papam, we have a pope.
Pope Francis decided to become a priest after being rejected by his sweetheart. She broke his heart when they were 12, he said.
Then I'll become a priest.
He kept that promise and became the Pope. Her name was Amalia. His name was Jorge Mario Bergoglio. The world came to know him as Pope Francis. At age 12, he proposed to his neighbor.
If I can't marry you, I'll become a priest,
he declared. She laughed and said no. Their parents disapproved of the romance. He still wrote her a love letter. Her father punished her for writing back. She never replied to him again. She called their bond innocent and pure. She lived just 4 doors from his childhood home. His father worked as a railway accountant. His mother raised the family in Flores, Buenos Aires. Years later, she saw him on television.
I froze. I couldn't believe it was Jorge.
She said. Pope Francis was elected in 2013. He became the first non-European pope in 1,272 years. He was also the first pontiff from Latin America. In 2010, he spoke about his early love life. He said he once had a girlfriend. They danced tango together before he found his calling. He studied chemistry before choosing the priesthood at 21. His sister Maria Elena spoke about his rise. She said he never wanted to be pope.
When we joked, he'd say, "No, please no."
Still, she was proud of him. She said his face showed peace and purpose. He famously declined the papal limousine. He took the bus with the cardinals after his election. He thanked them hours after becoming their leader. The controversies of his past soon emerged. Critics said he hadn't protected priests in 1976. They were kidnapped under Argentina's dictatorship. The Vatican called the claims defamatory. No charges were ever filed against him. One of the priests, Francisco Yalich, forgave him. They later met and reconciled. Francis faced many political and spiritual challenges. He once called the Falklands Argentinian soil. That sparked tension with the UK government. David Cameron publicly disagreed with his view. Still, Pope Francis stayed focused on humility and peace. He led the world's 1.3 billion Catholics with resolve, and it all began with a lost childhood love.